Joan of Arc, she wasn't supposed to lead armies, immune to fear and doubt. Yet she led, not by commanding, but through conviction, determination, and empathy. She inspired a whole army to march with her. Queen Elizabeth I, she wasn't supposed to hold power, yet she ruled an empire. A woman in a man's world, navigating suspicion, betrayal, isolation, and yet she led with clarity, making decisive moves that held her kingdom together. And how about Akamacharian, also known as Kerala's Jhansi Ki Rani? She led a protest to the gates of the British police station. And when the officers raised their gun, ready to shoot the people, she was the one who stepped forward and said, "I am the leader. Shoot me before you harm my people." She was just an ordinary school teacher. She had fears just like anyone else. But yet, she stood steady, firm, and she led in spite of the cost. So, is there a secret sauce that these women wielded? The qualities that they demonstrated of courage, of conviction, of resilience. These are not qualities unique to women. There are many leaders who have showcased these qualities. But then when you couple it with inherent empathy, with collaboration, with emotional intelligence, then women leaders have that extra edge. And that makes it really powerful. So there is this X factor that women bring in their leadership, where they add heart with strength, conviction with compassion, and together make a potent mixture. These are not any longer seen as feminine flaws. Indeed, they become a powerful formula for universal leadership. So what does it mean to lead like a woman? It means rising when the world tells you to shrink. It means carrying fire in your heart, steel in your spine, and empathy in your actions. Like Jacinda Ardern, after the Christchurch mosque attacks, she didn't deliver a grand speech from a tall podium. Instead, she wore the hijab, embracing the grieving, stood with them instead of above them. That moment was so powerful, not because it was loud, but because it was human. And this is not to say that women are better. It's just the kind of leadership that work, and they work wonders. Let's look at the numbers. So we have women holding very few leadership positions, even today. Women hold just 10.4% of Fortune 500 CEO roles. That is 54 out of 500, a minuscule fraction. And women-founded startups receive just 2.5% of venture funds. And yet, companies led by women outperform competitors by a staggering 226% over time. Startups with women founders return 63% more. Women-led tech teams deliver 35% higher ROI. And women with strong female leadership, they have 36% higher return on equity. So yes, they are still fewer in number, but great is their impact. And it's not just about gender. It's much deeper than that. So why is it that women leaders have showcased these kind of traits? Why is it found more in women leaders? I think there are multiple factors. One is from the cultural conditioning they have. From childhood, girls are taught to nurture, to listen, to emotionally attune. And what was seen yesterday as girly soft skills are today potent transformational leadership skills. Often women can't rely on hierarchy because it has been a male centric world. Through persuasion, through building trust, they learn to read rooms, read moods, and they learn to take people along with them because that is the way they had to thrive. And there is this challenge that every woman, professional or leader, has to balance family and career. So that gives them and teaches them an ability to have compassion for real life challenges. So, as leaders, they seek sustainability over time instead of short term wins. And then, even now, many a times, the women leaders are more often just the first or only one at the table. So they bring in an outsider's perspective. They come in with a different lens. So instead of accepting the normal way, the usual way that things are done, they bring in a new idea, new thoughts with a lot of humility. And they are ones who, more often than not, ask, is there a better way to do these things? Do we have to do the usual way? So these are traits that women leaders bring in. And some also say that it must be because of the strength and the struggle that women go through childbirth, the strength of bringing a life into the world, the pain, the sacrifice, the surrender. And childbirth isn't just the physical pain. It's practically a crucible where the pain continues beyond the birth, sleepless nights, demands, invisible labor that continues. And yet, each and every woman rises up to that challenge, that need. If men were to give birth, I sometimes think we would have far fewer people in this world. But truly, the resilience to endure and rise is a powerful leadership trait. I remember a woman I saw once living in a remote village in a hillside in rural India. She had to climb a tall, steep hillock to reach her workplace. The sun was grueling. The path was steep and arduous. She had her toddler slung on her back, a basket of firewood in her hand, and the whole entire day's labor lying in front of her. One could see that she was sweating and tired, yet she trudged up, trudged on, with no title, no applause. That also is a kind of leadership, a leadership that makes and keeps the world moving, the leadership that happens even when no one is looking. I remember many years ago when I had just started in the institution, I had to step into leadership during a crisis. On paper, I was not the obvious choice. I was inexperienced, had just gone to do the job, and I was feeling my way around. There were louder voices, there were seasoned leaders. Even within me, I had doubt. But then when I looked around, I could see fear in the teacher's eyes. I could see anxiety in the parents. I could see confusion in the students. And I knew someone had to do something, someone had to rise up. And so I did. Not because I knew what to do, not because I knew what was right and what was wrong. There was a lot of uncertainty, but because the moment demanded it. When I first stepped into the meeting room, my heart was pounding. I was not sure that everyone welcomed me. I could see hostile faces, but I didn't raise my voice. I made my presentation and Over a period of time, I raised the trust in the room. And over time, there was a shift, not because I took control, but because showed up. I showed up with conviction. I showed up and stayed there to make my presentation and seek a solution. So, my dear friends, leadership is not about authority that you wield. That's what I learned that day. It's about being authentic and also the ability to step up at the right time. This is a strength we must remember. Not because it is romantic, not because it's noble, but because it is real. And there's something important I want to tell you. You don't have to be a woman to lead like a woman. It's not about chromosomes. It is not about gender. It is about making choices. Yes, you don't have to be a woman to lead like a woman. Let me show you some men who led like women. Mahatma Gandhi, he led a nation through nonviolence to dialogue and empathy. He walked barefoot with his followers. He fasted with them. He listened to them. Indeed, his power came not from command, but from conviction. And there is a Barack Obama. He is called listener in chief. He always sought consensus over chaos. The 2008 meltdown, Sandy Hook crisis, he brought in calm, clarity, and compassion. And Ratan Tata, he is admired not just for building an empire, but for doing it with humility and emotional intelligence. He was one of the first people to meet the victims of the 2008 Mumbai attacks. But he did it quietly, no press, all with his humility and empathy for the people. Therefore, my dear friends, I think that there is some shift we need to make to address the world we are in today. There is a shift that we can make from the kind of leadership that emphasizes dominance to having dialogues. A kind of leadership where we change from hierarchy ridden, authority ridden leadership to humility ridden leadership, from fear based control to trust based influence, from commanding from the above to conviction that walks beside you. And that is what it means to lead like a woman. And it is not about gender. It's not that women do it better. It's just a new model of leadership that we need to embrace in today's times. And the kind of leadership that have shown results, that kind of leadership that will have the interests of society at large, the kind of leadership where you embrace, where one is born not from wielding power, but from carrying responsibility. It's like leading, like someone who's carrying that precious something up a steep hill and without applause. It is about leading like a woman. Lead like a woman. Thank you.